This video is sponsored by Into the AM. Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 221. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and working experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week. How? Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop showed off some more stuff for the Blades of Khorne and a new Spearhead that I'm kind of interested in. I finished a model, and one of my Warhammer 40,000 armies got some points drops in the new Minotaurum field manual. But first, Father's Day is right around the corner, and fathers are so hard to buy for. What can you get them that they'll actually use? Well, why not try some high-quality apparel from today's sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM is here to give you the look and feel you've always craved. They offer a huge selection of every kind of clothing you could need: shirts, denim jeans, joggers, briefs, flannels, jackets, and their item I love the most, graphic t-shirts. I love these shirts. Shirts like the Infinity Explorer graphic tee. This one has a sweet melancholy feel to it. Bourbon Voyage pullover hoodie. This one's really nice and warm. Heart of the Wild graphic tee. My Smoky Mountain parents really love this one. And the Space Saga vintage tee. It's got that retro vibe. All their art prints are incredibly detailed and vibrant. Their rotating selection of graphic shirts is huge, and every week they're adding more and more for you to choose from. Right now for Father's Day, they're offering a big clearance sale. They're offering 40 to 80% off part of their selection, so head on over to take advantage. And if you use the link in the description, you can get an additional 10% off of that. Whatever you or your dad are into, whether deep sea, Asian fusion, or astronauts doing just about anything, there's something cool to pick up for the perfect gift this Father's Day, so don't miss out. I have been absolutely loving the game of Spearhead. I just played in another Spearhead tournament with the Silventh, and I lost, but it wasn't my fault. I keep really liking the Spearheads that are maybe a little wimpy on the power level. Like Silventh are really good. You can teleport all over the board, you can do tons of healing, but you don't kill a lot of stuff. And that's kind of a problem, because if your opponent also has all of their units still available to them, it makes it a little bit hard. Like I maxed out on secondary every single game. Like in my last game, I lost like 18 to 20. Like it was really close and we both scored really high, but I just couldn't do the work with Silventh. Before I was playing Andrasta's Spearhead, which is kind of just a objectively bad Spearhead, but I really like Andrasta and the Stormcast. And Ogres got a nerf, so I haven't been playing my Ogres that much. I won a Spearhead tournament with my Ogres, but I've been on the lookout for a new Spearhead. It might be Daughters of Cain. I already have it and I've been putting it together. Daughters of Cain don't look super crazy powerful, but they got some really interesting shenanigans. And now there is a new Spearhead on the block, and it's got a bunch of doggos. The new Blades of Khorne Spearhead is 5 doggos, 10 doggos, 2 squads of 5, Karnak the big doggo, and the doggo guys from Warcry. So it's very dog themed. The Flesh Hounds of Khorne, which I was reading the little lore blurb about them, and I was really confused because it was like, yeah, these guys, they can track their prey through interstellar distances. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense for Age of Sigmar, but they're available in Age of Sigmar and in 40k. So the blurb was written for 40k. But I have no idea if this Spearhead would be good. I hope it is. The old Blades of Khorne Spearhead looked really good because it had the heavy cav in, what was it, the slaughters on Juggernauts. But this could be good. I could paint this up really quick because it's just a bunch of doggos. The Warcry guys look really cool. Get lots of blood splatter going. Like I feel like I could really whip this up. And if it's good, I would like it if it was good, because I play so much Spearhead, and I would like to say that I'm very good at Spearhead. I've played it a ton. I can get a game done in easy like 45 minutes when me and Sean are really going for it. But I lose so often, and I feel like that it has to just be because I'm constantly playing against the death factions, like some of the really powerful Spearheads. Cavalry is king in Spearhead. Cavalry is ridiculously powerful. With like a movement of 12, they can automatically charge basically anything on the board. They have incredibly powerful stat lines that essentially just auto delete anything in the game like immediately. And so then like I plan on going second. I move block the cavalry with like a squad of infantry that hopefully has reinforce. Like I do everything I can to try to put a damper on the cavalry. And then there's a Spearhead secondary card that can let you resurrect D3 cavalry back to life. And that usually happens when I'm going up against Cavs. So not only do I have to wipe the squad once, but then I have to wipe it again. The new vampire counts Spearhead seems really, really good because at the end of every single turn, you just get to put a new skeleton horse on the battlefield. And so, like, literally, I've had multiple games where I kill 4 of the skeleton riders because they're really tanky and tough, but they just come right back to life automatically. So it's like I'm not killing anything. At least with the old vampire Spearhead, he had to fight me in order to use my blood to re-energize his horses. Now they just come back. They just come back to life. It's not fair. But I really, this Spearhead looks kind of neat. It would be really easy to paint up. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see the rules to see if it is like a nice juicy Spearhead. And Spearhead is decently balanced. It's not like there's 3 armies that just absolutely dominate the game. But like all of the Spearheads except for maybe Carriage and Overlords are pretty good, but some of them struggle into certain matchups. And I just struggle into whatever it is Sean plays. But speaking of struggling in games of Warhammer 40,000, there was a new update to the Minotaurum field manual. I think we're on like 2.7 now. And Black Templar, one of my big armies in 40k, got a ton of drops. We got High Marshal Helbrecht down, Chaplain Grimaldus down, Primaris Crusader squad down, Primaris Sword Brethren squad down, which is kind of funny because a couple of Minotaurum field manuals ago, these all went up in points. Pretty sure because there was one French list that was like all infantry that performed really, really well in tournaments. And so then Black Templar went up and then our win rate went down. And so finally our points are dropping down a little bit. I think this is probably good. I don't know if it's good enough. It's so hard to say. Space Marines are in a little bit of a mess right now because all Space Marines are available to all Divergent chapters, which makes things really, really weird for balance because sometimes something that's crazy good in Space Wolves is only usable in Black Templar, and things that like Black Templar needs to have is overpowered in like Ultramarines with Marneus Calgar. So I think this will be good. I would like to see the vehicles go down a little bit. We pay 10 extra points for every vehicle because we get to slap a multi-melta on top. But vehicles don't necessarily want to get close enough to use those multi-meltas. I really want the Gladiator Valiant to be good because my Gladiator Valiant, the Black Templar Gladiator Valiant, can have 3 multi-meltas. And I just love the idea of driving right into something's face and just absolutely unloading with a bunch of multi-meltas. I built mine so that there's a little Sponson guy sticking out the top, manning the 3rd multi-melta. And so it'd be really cool if those are good, but they're just not as good as the Reaper or the Lancer. The Reaper! I don't like the Gladiator Reaper. The Gladiator Reaper is too good. It's so many good quality anti-infantry shots that it kind of outshines any infantry choice for all of Space Marines. If with Oath of Moment and with like Gilliman buffs, like a Gladiator Reaper can 1v1 a Genestealer Cult army. There's no point to bring assault squads or tactical marines or intercessors or maybe even heavy intercessors. Like all of these classic Space Marines that are good at killing like guardsmen and lower, or and even like orcs and sisters and stuff. Like the classic Space Marine is not better than a Gladiator Reaper. Like just a little bit. I'll take the vehicles down just a notch. Not my Gladiator Valiant, but everything else can come down just a little bit. I was looking at the old Minotaurum Field Manual 1.7 or 1.2, and which is like the 3rd Minotaurum Field Manual. And High Marshal Helbrecht back then was 105 points. That is cheap. That's probably too cheap. I think 120 is probably about right. Chaplain Grimaldus 120. Grimaldus is really, really good. You know what? I really can't complain about anything because Emperor's Champion has been 75 points for the longest time, and the Emperor's Champion at 75 points is delightful. I love Emperor's Champion. Such a great character. Doesn't do a whole lot other than just run around killing. Also, I shouldn't get too attached to these points because Black Templars, almost any day now, we should be getting a codex. According to the Games Workshop, like what's coming next, Black Templar is what's coming next. Although knowing Games Workshop, Imperial Fist will probably come out before Black Templar because it's never been accurate this whole year, so why would they start now? But Games Workshop, if you want to make me really, really happy, we should get a new data sheet. I mean, we should get a couple because you should give us some new models. But if you don't want to give us new models, make the Primaris Sword Brethren squad or Primaris Crusader squad into 2 data sheets, one of them all choppy and one of them all shooty. Because that box does come with enough bolters for all of the boys and the scouts. Like, you're meant to either go sword or gun. There's no point to going gun. You would never ever go gun. But they come in the box. Like, you should be able to take, 9 guns and the heavy flamer, but you would never do that. So split it into 2 different data sheets. One of them is the choppy, one of them is the shooty. The choppy should keep the choppy ability, but then the shooty, you give them something. Don't just give them objective secured. Give them something kind of neat and interesting. Overwhelming fields of fires. Just maybe like the double shoot. The double shoot for regular intercessors is probably too good, but give them a little something to up their shooting, or maybe something to do with the flamethrower. Maybe like a, I don't know, free Overwatch. I feel like a couple of units have free Overwatch or weirdly better with their Overwatch, but it's usually on stuff that's a little too good in Overwatch. Why not give things that are bad, like good Overwatch? So you'll on average do like 2 wounds. That's fine, that's fair. Like 2 wounds is fine. What you don't want is like warp spiders who are just automatically getting 14 attacks through just because they have torrent weapons. So yeah, please split Crusader Squad into 2 different units. I think that they should do that more often because I do miss points now. I was a little bit okay with points going away because a lot of the times it was just kind of annoying. Only Space Marines, Guard, and a little bit Drukhari take advantage of points really because you can kit out certain units. Some units are so diverse that you can kit them out to essentially turn them into completely different types of units. But most of the game doesn't care. Like, Necrons do not care about equipment. It was just a time tax of having to tell the app that I am taking the Gauss Reapers on all 100 of my Necron warriors. It's the only thing that they would have, but I have to enter it into the app. Like, I think for the most part it works. But you should, every time there's like a weird data sheet, you should split them into a few different versions, like what they did with the Lehman Russ or what they did with the Tau Crisis Suit teams. Like, I think that works. That would work. Just keep doing it. Keep making those changes. And speaking of changes, it didn't happen in this Minotaurum field manual, but in the previous Minotaurum field manual, Centurion warsuits went down. Assault is 150 and the Devastator is 165. I don't know if that's good yet, but it's a lot better than it was. And I love the Centurions. The fighty Centurions are really fun with their sustain 2 on their siege drills. The Devastator Centurions have all sorts of missile launchers and the las cannons, which I do think should be 2 las cannons. Does it even? I think it does have twin linked, but each fist is holding a las cannon, but each guy only gets to shoot 1 shot. Which does feel a little, you could give them a little something extra. The problem with Centurions is that they're not a vehicle, and so if they take damage, for every 4 wounds that you get hit with, you drop 30% in your damage potential, which is kind of punishing. Where with like a vehicle, you usually have to drop to like 4 hull points remaining before you get bracketed. And then when you're bracketed, you still shoot with all of your guns. You just go down 1 in ballistic skill. You don't lose one of your guns like with a Centurion warsuit. And the Assault Squad is just so much fun. I love the idea of a giant monster dude just running in there and punching with his fists and his movement 4, which is barely enough to get through the game. But it is really important that Centurions have the infantry keyword so that they can go straight through ruin walls, which is, if they didn't have that, it would be absolutely unplayable. Although, did you guys know that Paragon warsuits have the vehicle keyword? I was just playing a game against Sisters of Battle, and I realized this. And do you know what that means? Number 1, it means they can tank shock, which is kind of nice. But number 2, it means that every time a Paragon warsuit dies, it has to roll for explodes. And so for all 3 guys in the squad, every time one dies, it has a chance of doing spill damage onto the next guy. It's hilarious. I don't think there's anything else like that. Crisis suits don't have infantry, but they have fly. Yeah, Centurions are just straight infantry for some reason. Like, Terminators are infantry. I can't think of anything else in the game that has the vehicle keyword that probably shouldn't have the vehicle keyword, but it is hilarious. But speaking of things that I'm really excited to play in-game, I got a little bit of painting done this week, and I painted up General Grievous for the game Star Wars Legion. This guy has been kicking around in my collection for a long time because I bought the 2-player starter set for Star Wars Legion that was the clones versus the droids way back, and so I finally put together General Grievous, and this guy was delightful. I did a little bit of converting to get his foot up on a tactical rock, and then technically if you use the cape, it's better to use the not separated arms, but I was able to make it work with the separated arms. This guy painted up really, really nicely. I did use mostly airbrushing to get all of the colors on there, and then just a little bit of speed paint. And the real reason that I really wanted to paint this guy, I just had the urge to paint him, is because of his cape. It has this really nice quilting, and so I just spray painted it red, and then I used enamel panel liner in like 1 instant to get all of the really, really nice shading in between the different quilting. This guy turned out really, really fun, and I am very excited to get some games in of Star Wars Legion. I think Star Wars Legion just had an edition change or just had some major rules changes. I think all of their products are getting reboxed right now, and so I'm excited to give new Legion a try. I did really like old Legion. I think it played really nicely. I liked how like purposeful the movement phase was, because in a lot of tape measure games, the movement phase can get really, really annoying, because if it's a little bit wishy-washy, that can make it more pleasant to play, but then it makes it more annoying when your opponent makes charges that they maybe didn't make, or things happen that maybe shouldn't have happened. But if movement is really, really tight and rigid, like a couple of like the boat and naval games I've played, it becomes so annoying of using a protractor to perfectly pivot your model so that you're not cheating, and it becomes really, really onerous. There's a game, Mantic's Dead Zone, which uses a grid system, and I think we should be looking into grid systems more, because it's really delightful how it takes all of the measuring out of the game, and you can really easily look at the game state and understand what options you have available to you and what's going on, as opposed to like, you pre-measuring or thinking too hard about what's happening. Like, I don't know. I'm in two minds of movement, but I want to play a boat game that's on a grid system. I've played a couple of boat games, and usually it's the movement phase that just destroys the fun of it. But if it's on a grid system and I can just go ba ba ba, it's perfect. But speaking of things that are perfect, EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is a place to find our merch, like the EOB dice, wet pallets, basing toppers, and bits and water slide decals, and is also the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can use on our new monthly terrain packs or any previous pack we have ever made. This June, we made an absolute monstrosity. What better way to show off that a battle is serious business than a god machine already dead on the ground? These shattered remains create thematic line-of-sight blocking and ruined terrain perfect for grimdark games with a titanic rigor mortis claw, silent cannon, and lifeless eyes. This beast won't be doing much but looking pretty, while those who are still kicking win the day. This ruined titan fits right at home with our previous crash spaceship terrain. A lot of fun math hammering this week. The Black Templar drops do have me interested. I want to play Space Marines. I am ready to get hurt again. Space Marines are so hard to play because the point levels are so high on everything that it hurts really bad when they die. And it's really not that hard to kill Space Marines. Everything in the game is pretty good at killing Space Marines. But I want to try. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to click the link in the description to get a cool Into the AM shirt today.